I hope everyone's doing well this evening. First, I would like to introduce myself. I am Jamia Brown, and I will be facilitating or moderating this conversation that we'll be having tonight. Before we start it off tonight, I'm going to pass it off to a bunch of linguists to read their language justice statement.
Hello, everyone. My name is Judith Nieto. My pronouns are she, hers, they, them. I'm joined today by my comrade and co-interpreter, Joan, whose pronouns are she and her. We're members of Bancha Lenguas Language Justice Collective based in Bulbancha, Louisiana, also known as New Orleans. Bulbancha es la palabra Choctaw, que significa la tierra en donde se habla muchos lenguajes. Bulbancha is the Choctaw word, which means the land where many languages are spoken. Hola a todos, mi nombre es Judith y mis pronombres son ella y ella. Hoy estoy aquí con mi compa y co-intérprete Joan, sus pronombres son ella. Somos miembros del colectivo de justicia del lenguaje Bancha Lenguas, basado en Bulbancha, Luisiana. Como trabajadores de justicia del lenguaje nos esforzamos a crear un espacio para que aquí todos presentes puedan entender y ser entendidos en el idioma en que nos sentimos más poderosos. As language justice workers, we strive to create a space where everyone here can be understood and understand in the language in which we feel most powerful. En Bancha Lenguas trabajamos hacia la inclusividad de género en nuestro trabajo por la justicia del lenguaje. At Bancha Lenguas, we work towards gender inclusivity in our language justice work. Notará que estamos usando la letra E al final de palabras binarias. Esto no es un error, es nuestro intento en crear lenguaje más inclusivo e incluir personas de todos los géneros. You'll notice us using the letter E at the end of gendered words. It's not an error. It is us attempting to create a more inclusive language and include people of all genders. Hoy proveeremos interpretación simultánea de inglés al español y del español al inglés, y interpretación de señas en inglés, como parte de nuestro esfuerzo por crear espacios multilingües. Today we'll be providing simultaneous interpretation from English to Spanish and Spanish to English, and also ASL as part of our effort to create a multilingual space. To access the interpretation platform, you'll see a globe icon at the bottom of your screen with the word interpretation. Please click on it and select the channel with the language of your choice. Si está usando una computadora, vas a ver un icono de globo al pie de tu pantalla con la palabra interpretación. Haz clic sobre él y selecciona el canal de tu lenguaje preferido, inglés o español. For smartphone or tablet, look for 3 dots that read more and click on that and make your selection. Para teléfono inteligente o tableta, busca 3 puntos que leen más, haz clic y haz tu selección. Just a few things together. Just remember to speak at a slow and steady pace. If you're talking too fast, you'll see us do this sign signal, which means to slow down. If you're not speaking loud enough or speaking too softly, we'll do this hand signal for you to raise your voice or raise your volume. Please try to speak one person at a time. The interpreter can only interpret one voice at a time, and we don't want to be in a position where we have to privilege one voice over the other. Ahora, para crear este espacio juntos, unas cositas, por favor, hablen en un paso lento y constante. Si está hablando muy rápido, verá esta señal de manos para que vaya más despacio. Y si está hablando muy despacio, vamos a hacer esta señal de manos para que alce su sonido. Por favor, traten de hablar una persona a la vez. Los intérpretes solamente pueden interpretar una voz a la vez y no queremos estar en la posición de tener que decidir cuál voz privilegiar sobre la otra. Lastly, don't suffer in silence. If you have any problems hearing us or the speaker, please send us a message in the chat or tell your facilitators. Y por último, no sufren en silencio. Si tienen un problema escuchándonos a nosotros o los presentadores, por favor, mande un mensaje en el chat. And thank you all for your commitment to creating this multilingual space. Gracias a todos por su compromiso en crear este espacio multilingüe. Back to
Thank you so much for that. Really appreciated that. And We're just gonna move right in, and I will have each panelist introduce themselves. I am just gonna go in order from the way that I see y'all on the screen. So it looks like the first person that will be going is Toya X, who works with Fund the People and Project Hustle. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Peace and good evening, everybody. I guess I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to be in a space where we can kind of foster a conversation around building tools of survival, whether it be from natural disasters, government or structural disasters. I know we live in the city of New Orleans, and since Hurricane Katrina, a lot of nonprofit infrastructures have been built to kind of address certain needs. However, we the people, we keep evolving, we keep growing and changing, and I think it's very important for us to enter into these conversations as times pass, so that we can build more tools, so that we can grow and have the tools we need to survive. Thank y'all for having me.
Thank you so much. The next person that I see is Stephanie Cooper, who works with Rise St. James. Is anyone else having issues hearing? Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I didn't want to interrupt. Okay, we can try to come back and give you a little bit of time. I will say, I don't know if this will help, but I guess making sure the microphone and the speaker are underneath the same system on the little arrow by the mute button. But we'll come back to you, Stephanie. Next, I guess we can move on to Tawana, who is an education advocate.
Hi, my name's Tawana. I'm a part of the Covenant House. It's an at-risk youth, was a shelter for at-risk youth. Also, I speak for the people. I'm part of the people. I just try to let the people who is voiceless, I try to speak for the voiceless. And that's really why I'm here. I'm here to speak on how the people came together, how resilient they were, and how heroic they were. That's what I'm here for. And I'll just thank everyone for your time, and thanks just for organizing this amazing panel.
Thank you. Next, we can move on to Angel Chung Kutnu, who is an educator and a mutual aid organizer.
Good evening. I am Angel Chung Kutnu. I'm from Laplace, also part of Cancer Alley. I'm fifth generation from the Mississippi River. And after Hurricane Ida, basically I got together some volunteers and people found me, and we've been doing mutual aid work in Laplace since then. And we kind of officially and unofficially go by the name Laplace Mutual Aid. And so I'm just really grateful to be a part of this panel and be here with people tonight and just talking about our experiences and really just sharing a lot of what we've gathered through all of this together.
Okay, thank you. Now we can move on to our next panelist, Alfred. Would you like to go?
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Alfred Marshall. I've been a long time resident here in New Orleans. You know, I grew up here in New Orleans, right near the Panther Party. I have experienced a lot of hurricanes in my time, you know, going back to Betsy days. I was young at that time. You know, and just learning from the Panther Party, and that, you know, I just been organizing in this city. You know, and after Katrina, I have been doing a lot of work on the ground, bringing people together. And the only way we're going to change our condition, for us is to stick together, do this thing together. So now I'm currently with the Voices of Experience. We have mass incarceration. New Orleans has been the mass incarceration capital of the world for the longest. So I've been fighting with Voices of Experience to try to change some of the Podanic laws that's on the book. So I'm glad to be here tonight. I really enjoy, hearing from my Latino family as well. So I'm just glad to be here tonight. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Stephanie, did you have a chance to work out the audio?
Yeah, can you all hear me? Wonderful.
I can hear, but there's an echo that's I can hear. I think if you are you using two different systems right now?
I think I'm gonna have to use my phone.
Okay.
So I'll close my laptop. You guys can hear me on the laptop now? No? Okay. All right.
I'm sorry,
what about
Stephanie,
now?
you may need headphones
Can you hear
because
me
the two
now? I'll turn
devices
it
are
off.
hearing each other.
Yeah, that's better.
What about now? That's better? Is it better?
Yeah, it sounds pretty good.
Awesome. Thank you. Sorry about that. And that's the problem that I'm here at the hotel. Look like they're having some issues as well. My name is Stephanie Cooper. I'm with Rising, and I'm here in Gonzales. That happened with Hurricane Ida. We still have an issue with our internet. So whenever I have to do any type of Zoom call or anything technological, I definitely have to go to the Sunshine Bridge or either go into a hotel. So that's why I'm here. But glad to be a part of this forum to talk about some awe-inspiring events that has taken place during Hurricane Ida. And also here to be a part of the panel guests. Yes, we're here as well. And just to add on to the gooey wonderful things that we're going to talk about, and that will help our community and help us cohort groups to come together and realize that we're in this battle and this fight together. Thank you so much. And my name is Steph Cooper, Rising James.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome so much.
I'm sorry. Okay. I can go straight into our first questioning of the evening. Pretty much all the questions are going to be open to all of the panelists, and I'd really like for it to flow like a discussion. So whoever is feeling it, I guess he can jump into the discussion that we're having. So first, I would like to say, Toya, I heard you use the phrase tools for survival multiple times. And I was just wondering, how did Hurricane Ida impact your communities? And what are some ways that we can cultivate and sharpen those tools that you've been referencing to?
Well, yeah, thank you for asking that. I think that I'll start by saying I went into Hurricane Ida with knowledge of what I experienced in Hurricane Andrew and Hurricane Katrina and Hurricane Gustav, right? So I was imagining initially I was like, should I evacuate in the case of extreme flooding? And I did a little bit of trusting in the new $1 billion levees that we have to know that if the flooding happened in the city of New Orleans, it wouldn't be as bad. So we decided not to evacuate. We also decided, that if we stayed, the only thing we would need to figure out is how to deal with the loss of power for, in my mind, 2 to 3 days. But what I couldn't have predicted was that the power would be out for over 10 days. And I think that was a lesson that I learned, just like I learned that during Katrina, I learned not to park under trees because the winds pick up, the trees will fall, the tree branches will fall and it will bust your car window. And if you did have a chance to get out, it's just that much harder to get out because you have bust windows on the cars. And I also learned to like really pay attention to how flooding happens in a given area. Because in New Orleans, we get flooding on a regular rainy day. And so when it's a real bad rain, it often shows you how the water will sit on your block and what would be the highest spots. So we paid attention to that. So there's a lot. At the end of the day, what I learned is there's a lot of lessons that came up and was helpful from the past. However, there was new lessons to be learned with what we was experiencing now. And I think one of the hardest things about what we experienced in Hurricane Ida is older people and people with babies, they had to stay in homes. If they couldn't afford to evacuate before or after the storm, they had to stay in homes without electricity. And that's not good. What we know is that some people died because of that, right? And so one of the tools that came of that is that finding the resources to have a bunch of generators in some warehouse somewhere where we can go turn a key and start bringing them to people who are in need of them, or either having the resources to have some type of community carpool that either before or after the storm, while the power is still out, get people to a place where they can have electricity, right? And having a hurricane fund. I personally have a hurricane fund for me and my family, but wondering what does it look like to have a hurricane fund for a larger number of people, and gathering the information of those people to be ready when it's time. So yeah, evacuating and dealing with being in homes without power is two things that Hurricane Ida taught me. But I definitely had some tools from surviving Hurricane Katrina and a number of other hurricanes in between that kind of helped me do better in this instance.
I'll say for me, kind of bouncing off of what Toya started saying, is a tool that has been immeasurable has been community. And that's how it all started for me, was that my parents still live in Laplace, and I wasn't able to get in touch with them for a day or two after the storm. And so my brother had his friend go look for my parents at their house and find them, because cell phones were down. So that was community right there. And then once we realized how much damage had been done to my parents' house, then I just started asking friends online, can we show up for my parents? And then community showed up. And then from there, people kept showing up, and the resources poured in so quickly that that's when I realized I had to expand and support many more people and many more families in Laplace. And so it was just an extension of community. And in a way, it feels like I've done all this networking and I never knew why I was doing it, to what end, because it's not like I am an entrepreneur in a way that I need to have a large network of people, but all of it really paid off during this time when we needed so much community support. And then we were spreading out resources to community as well. And so for me, that was just the number one tool of survival, was being able to connect and reconnect to different people in order to support as many people as possible.
Just the same sentiments as the two ladies as well. One thing that my parents always because in this case, the day was perfect. So pretty much had.
Richard, audio's cutting out again. Don't mean to interrupt. Is there another way, like headphones or I don't know, audio on your device? Ben recommended possibly turning off the video, that often helps making the audio come out a little bit more clear when the video is
Right.
off, and it makes more
Right.
room for the audio.
Wonderful. Is that better?
Yes, it is.
Oh, great. So preparing for a hurricane has always been one of the tools that my parents have taught us. And that is, I'm pretty sure most of your parents are the same thing as well. And that is the make groceries, make sure you have food in the home before severe weather or hurricane comes. So pretty much I prepared for that. Flashlight had all of that information. And one thing my dad and mom also told us, invest in a gas stove. So in case a situation like that happened, that gas stove will be available for you to cook, and not only for you to cook for yourself, but of course to service other people in the neighborhood as well. So that was very important as well. So we're able to have food. Pretty sure all of us realize too, there are a lot of things that we took great at this air, heat, as well. Another thing I invested in as well in the toolkit, and that is a solar radio. So, solar radio day, and of course, this is solar in the limited area. So that is but the one thing is to come out, it was only happening when this hurricane stopped.
Yeah, this audio seems to be cutting out. I'm not sure if you are on your phone right now, but if not, maybe switching to the phone without the camera on might work.
Okay.
Yeah, Ben mentioned there's a dial-in number that can be used
Okay,
to.
got it. You still cannot hear me?
I can hear you better right now. It's a
Okay,
little,
well, I need to get a little closer then. What about now? That's better?
yeah, a little bit.
Yes. So I said that I noticed there was some things that we kind of like took for granted, and that is the heat and not having an air conditioner, of course, and not only having the lights as well. So, and hurricane happened,
It was so at first, and I was cutting out again.
Yeah, for me, you know, I've been through a lot of storms, and it never been one like this one. You know, I had been displaced from Katrina because we were living in a brick city in the projects. But, you know, being displaced from that, now I was in a new location, experiencing this hurricane. I never seen one that lasts that long and that much wind. I'm used to water, but this wind damage was something different, totally different. And like the resiliency of the people, like the sister spoke earlier about community coming together. The next day, coming out of this thing, I had a gas stove, like the lady speak of, so I was able to continue cooking. But what I seen was in the community was people had these barbecue grills, and everybody came out. When the meat was going bad, people just throwing it on a grill, going around feeding people. So that's the community that came together, you know, during a crisis. You know, they didn't wait for nobody. They just put their stuff together, and I got the meat. You know, they had the grill. People came up with different things, and you know, surprisingly enough, we was able to feed ourselves. And having the connections that I have, and just knowing the people that I knew, I was able to. My organization was able to come up with some generators, just about 120 generators. So I was able to go around and to those people, we definitely was trying to get the people, the elderly people, or people that had problems, with kids and whatnot, was able to serve those people generators during that time. But I never seen one to this capacity, right? Where, you lose your lights for that long, and how the power company and people lost everything. But the resiliency of the community stuck together, and we pulled through this thing, man. We really did. Yeah.
Yeah. Going back off of what Alfred said, the people. It's like everyone was determined to not have another Hurricane Katrina, to not lose as many lives. The way that everyone was spreading the word on social media, the people that did have access to internet, the way that the Cajun Navy, that organization, the way they went in and saved so many families, people that just had boats went in and saved so many lives when the cities was just shut down, when the police, the firefighters, no one was moving. And I'm just so proud of our community. I'm so proud how we really stick together. And I wish that we would just do that for everything. It would be so much better, because what I'm trying to figure out is why we were without lights for so long, and energy, because that's our only electric company in New Orleans. They're trying to make us pay for everything. They're making us, the citizens, the ones who went through everything, they're taxing us for that. And we have to pay for the repairments and things. Why? Why don't they have a state fund for emergencies, an emergency fund? That's what I want to know.
If no one else wanted to add anything, I'll go into our next question. So as issues like climate change become more and more prevalent for our communities and continuously shifts the way we experience natural disasters, how did this hurricane differ from previous storms? That could be the actual storm itself, or the response to recovery and the way that the community moved.
I think that it was really strange for me how what we used to is a storm hitting land, and once it hit land, it does damage in the place where it hit land, but while on land, it dies down. It's interesting to hear stories that this storm picked back up in like Nashville, Tennessee, and some other places, but also got all the way up to New Jersey and New York and did such great damage. And I mean, I didn't think about it till you asked this question just now, Jamil, but I'm wondering how much does our ability to actually take care of the planet has caused that difference in the way we see storms hit. And on a similar topic, we already know we have a government structure that at least 60% or more, give or take a few, that don't even believe in global warming, don't even believe that we need to make changes to change the planet. And with that, we had LaToya Cantrell deciding not to issue a mandatory evacuation even after she knew that we wouldn't have power for over 10 days. And I found that strange because what I learned from my insurance company is that they would have gave me some extra evacuation funds to evacuate had the city had issued a mandatory evacuation. And myself and a number of other people and the folks that I was able to organize was able to get out, but there's some people that could have used those funds to get out, and there's countless stories around what they had to experience and endure because that didn't happen. And I know that it's a lot of work to create the contraflow and all the other things that come with an emergency evacuation, but it would have helped us even better, to get the resources we need at the end of the day had the right decision been made. I'm gonna leave it there.
Yeah, again, as I said earlier, that, I never seen nothing like this, the way Ida came through and she had a Malanga. Of course, we have global warming that's happening. In New Orleans, we don't have seasons no more. We have seasonings, right? You can't tell a winter from the summer, and all these things are happening. And, when I experienced that, when I experienced Ida and seen it, and how she, as Toya said, how she lingered over New Orleans, just tearing things up with a windstorm, and how she moved up the coast, it have to be something that's happening with the climate. And for people not to deny that, we experiencing it all the time here in New Orleans. We don't never have winters anymore. We have summer, we have a little winter, then we have summer, then we have a little winter, then we have a summer. So something is wrong with the climate, something was happening. And, speaking about the government, as far as them coming to our rescue, we wasn't called looters this time, but, when the government officials did come in, their main goal was to protect the businesses, right? We saw that firsthand, when people were out just trying to find natural things just to survive off, right? They didn't call us looters, but I seen the military come in and just really protect interests of businesses, right? So, when I think about the climate and what they're doing to it, man, we in trouble here, because nothing won't grow nowhere in the city. I come from a place where we had nothing but shaded trees, right? They use these stones and come in, and you see a whole new operation of, oxygen that comes in. They plant small little trees where I used to live at, right? I remember big old oak trees. We lost a lot of oak trees during the storm, right? We lost a lot of them during Hurricane Ida. They still got some that's tilted over right now. How do you replace that oxygen back on this planet? So when I go through the city and view that and understand that people are struggling right now because the insurance company is not paying off. A lot of people not paying off. People, waiting on FEMA and waiting on the insurance company is not coming to the rescue. So, I just know that after every disaster, they come in and they steal land and steal houses. So sometimes I just think it's man-made, because they have a lot to do with a lot of this stuff. I don't know if it can do, if they can play with the weather. I won't say they can't, but that's my thoughts about, how the climate is changing. We definitely see serious change that's happening. And will it be a tomorrow for our children? We see the ice, the glaciers melt and everything. So yeah, I just know it's global warming, and for them not to say that is a problem. I'll leave it there.
A few points that y'all have made have had me thinking, in what ways has the government, whether that be local or federal, failed the Black community in the context of natural disaster protection and recovery, which has prompted many people to have to show up for their neighbors and communities during this time?
Right, so kind of responding to both of the questions. I have been through quite a few hurricanes myself. I remember Andrew, Gustav, Katrina, and none of them really started to hit Laplace until the new levee system was built. And Laplace flooded in 2012 with Isaac. And so none of the storms were like that until that happened. We never flooded. We didn't have all of this extreme weather. And then we had tornadoes passing through Laplace, and things have just gotten significantly worse. And I think, to respond to your second question about how the government has failed, I mean, if we look at the situation we're in right now, if there hadn't been people showing up for people and neighbors showing up for each other, where would anybody be? People would be stranded, people would be without homes, people would be without food. I mean, they had so many organizations and people that came through, feeding hundreds of people a day, bringing tents to people who needed them because they couldn't go to their homes. Just myself, with the volunteers that I had, we tarped 14 homes, and the last one we tarped was 3 weeks ago. And this was a woman who was living in her house, who still had no one showing up to help her, and her roof was still leaking. 6 weeks after the storm had passed. And so the government has failed in so many ways and really has not helped anyone pick up the pieces. And it's just been the people really supporting each other through all of this. And so we sit back and we look, and there's so many times that they just have excuses and they have things to say about showing up next time and being there next time, but it's really just words, and it's all talk and empty words. So, I mean, the failure is right in front of us as we're sitting here.
Yeah, and it's just so unfortunate because they did not have a plan B. You know, it's so unfortunate. They were overwhelmed and did not have a plan just in case this would happen. Yes, we have the emergency siren, but they were not there for the people. I really feel to believe that they were totally overwhelmed themselves. It's unfortunate as well, even after months, weeks that this has passed, and still they haven't produced the trailers that were promised to people. In St. James Parish, we have 240 residents, and I know others have more in St. James Parish, whose homes were destroyed, mold and mildew. And as we speak right now, I was told that some of my students that are taught are also living in those Section 8 homes because they don't have anywhere to go. Still waiting on those portable trailers to come. So it's just so unfortunate that people had to neighbor helping neighbors, family helping neighbor friends, family helping family, so forth and so on. There wasn't even any individual out there to help with tarping. People needed tarps on their home. People needed their homes to be gutted, you know, and it's just so unfortunate. They needed an avenue to get out. Couldn't find family members. So there wasn't a plan B there for the people and for the community. And it's just so unfortunate. I echo the same sentiments because of climate change. The atrocity with natural disasters now is really, really imminent now. And it's to a point where people are ready to leave. It's so unfortunate to say something like that. I remember my sister was telling me that she lives in Maryland, and she said when she was looking at the news and it was saying how Hurricane Ida was hoovering over St. John and St. James and St. Charles and Lake Charles, so forth and so on, and the southern area, Lafourche and all of that. And she said, Stephanie, next time y'all get out. Y'all get out. She said, I never slept. I didn't sleep at all the whole time because I know the people were really suffering there, you know, because of those things, the hurricane that has happened. And not only that, the help, the immediate help, the help that you put those people in leadership abilities to help you out, just in case something like that would happen. And it's just so unfortunate. And to bring this up as well, DEQ and also the EPA are not doing their job because as all of this stuff happening now, they are emitting more and more pollution because no one is there to measure and see what is being exposed today. The other day, I took a video of CF with the red light, and I've been told by family people working the plant that when a red light is on, they're burning carcinogens, they're burning chemicals, and those fumes, they were, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, they were out there late at night. This is like about 11:30 at night. So this is appalling that we have these governmental entities in line to help the people, and they're not there, even as we speak now. And I know it was a wake-up call for them, but it's a wonderful thing, just like others have said, that people and family have to get together and pretty much take care of each other, because even churches were destroyed, because that used to be a safe haven to some areas. The churches was there to take care and house people, and that wasn't there because some of the churches, you know, had damages as well. So this is an eye-opening, but I hope it is an eye-opening for the entire world that climate change is, not isn't, is real. It's not obsolete. It's not for certain people. It's not in the South. It's not in the West. It's all over this world. Everyone have a natural disaster, but everyone has to come to some concerted agreement that it's going on all over the world, and it is getting worse and worse because of the petrochemical, gas, and fossil fuel industry. That is my opinion, and I know it has been proven over and over again with other universities, research and data as well. No one listened. That has been proven as well. What was going to happen? Like 10 or 15 years, they knew this was going to happen, and here it is. So now we're seeing the imminency, the atrocity of climate change. So that's what I wanted to add on. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I want to add that, yes, the petrol industry and all those industries. Can y'all hear me? I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, all those industries like across the east portion of Louisiana are to blame for a lot of what we're suffering from. But I also want to go back and name that I kind of celebrated that we had these great levees, and I didn't take into consideration what happens, like for us to gain those levees that make us feel a little safer. What happens to the surrounding parishes? And that's another historical point, that the city of New Orleans has historically always done what it takes to save us, and not taking consideration what happened to people in surrounding parishes. There's been a bunch of points in history where the city of New Orleans has blown up the levees in places where the water be redirected to poor parishes, right? So I think there is accounting we need our government officials to do as it relates to like being conscious and being accountable to all people, and being on one accord with the surrounding parishes as well. And I'm gonna go back to community, right? What I learned is that if we need something, it takes for us to stand up and make it happen. And not just ask for it to happen, but make it happen. In 2008, when Hurricane Gustav hit, people was concerned about A, having to evacuate, and B, like, where will we go? So it was some people in an organization by the name of Stand With Dignity, a Black community-based building organization, that got together and began to organize and advocate for them to put in place shelters that gave them access to the news, decent food, decent places to sleep, places for mothers to be able to take care of children, places for people to actually feel safe. And it was that organizing effort that those folks did that made it possible for shelters to be in the state of Louisiana at that time, and for shelters to like be put together at a certain standard. So just lifting up people in community, not to name that, knowing who in your neighborhood have a boat. It's something important to know, like something important to know for me in New Orleans. And I know in LaPlace and all these other places that y'all, that it's important and imperative to know, like, which one of my neighbors got a boat? So, like, because I know they're going to be saving people. so I could either help, or I could know who to be looking for to come and take care of me. So yeah, it's always us, the people who take care of each other. And I appreciate that spirit and hope that we just like harness that a little more.
Yeah, and I think it was a wonderful thing that people were coming from all over, because I took the time to go to convent. I also went to the Place, and I wanted to cry. I have a sister who lives in the Place. They pretty much lost, everything. And I have a sister who lives in St. Charles. So thank God she was smart enough to get out and go to her daughter in Texas. So in St. Rose, which St. Louis Parish. And but I couldn't make it past Walmart in the Place. I got emotional. I couldn't get myself. I asked my nephew and my sister to meet me at Walmart. And when I saw that line, and going back to what I said earlier, how we take things for granted. Our Walmart, the Walmart in Donaldsonville and Gonzales was completely over. The Place was lagging behind because of course, the more damage that they had. There, New Orleans and so forth and so on. It depends on where you are. I'm looking at the standpoint where I've seen for myself. I couldn't bypass going to Walmart, seeing the people in the line individually, one way in and one way out. I got so emotional. I couldn't ride anywhere at all, because after the hurricane, my niece and I, we went on both sides of the river trying to see who we can help. I had money. I had food in the car. I had some wonderful people that chime in and got with me. like the Red Bucket Brigade. I'm not even going to call any more names, Rise and stuff. We got together, paid for some food for someone, gave them money to take care of personal items. I mean, it was, I was just totally overwhelmed and emotional, but then the emotion was also overwhelmed by the warmth and the love. Like everyone have said on this phone call, people coming together for each other, neighbors, giving each other the shirt off their back. Like some people didn't even have clothing. I brought linen, towels, comforters, blankets, sheets, wherever I could, the money that Rise gave, to the members for their own personal stay. I mean, I took it because of those things, just like I said earlier, that our parents taught us. Look, when a hurricane happens, this is what you do. You go buy food, you go buy this, in case that happen. And again, I'm going to say this again, it's not just for you. It is to share for those people who are less fortunate. You share it when you make the groceries. So we had a lot of groceries at home. So that's why I was able to go and feed and help out. But it became overwhelming when looking at all of the damages that were done. And it really I really got emotional with that. But the uplifting thing is what everybody mentioned a few minutes ago, the support of the community. We always got to remember, we are our brother's keeper. We never supposed to look down on anyone. And I know you guys don't. The only time we should be looking down on them if we're reaching down to pick them up and support him. God doesn't see color. We shouldn't see color as well. We go and help because there is a need. And that's what all of those people with those angelic heart did on that day and continue to do as well. Thank you.
Yes. I just would say that, on the backs of $1 billion Betsy, right? Betsy, and if the Corps engineers were supposed to come in and put levee protections in, right? What we witnessed during Katrina time, like, these levee protections failed us because they blew the levees. So which side you decide to blow the levee on, right? Do you flood the French Quarter? Do you flood, the night wall? And we understand that, they flooded the night wall. It was for us to come together and save ourselves. We couldn't wait on government officials. We found flotation devices to go in and help people and save people. That's the resiliency that they say that we have. We looked out for each other. We cannot sit around and wait on government officials. Bush and them came afterwards. After all that happened, then the cavalry came. So it's all about community. It's all about love for the people. We have to save ourselves. And that's why we say we resilient people. In my head, my heart goes out to the people that hit in the rural parishes right now, as the lady spoke, people coming together, doing it for each other. Because we witnessed it and we experienced it during Katrina time. It was to come in, the government came in and jacked us for the land, did what they had to do. They didn't care about the survival of the people, So it have to be us together, right? It have to be people working with people. The government is not there for us. We have to be for ourselves. Katrina came and did what any storm would do, blow down a few things, right? But it was just the Corps engineers, the way the water was designed to run on poor people. So I don't trust the system. It was by design all this happened. So we have to stay, connected to each other. We have to.
But we also have to come together to hold the people that we elect, to hold the leaders accountable and to demand more from them. And a lot of people overlook the forgotten people, which is the homeless. And that's where during natural disasters, during the disasters, they are the forgotten about ones. It's like, what about the homeless? They are the forgotten about ones. And that's what I just want to shine more light on that. And also just with the recovering system, how it's not really accessible, how it's not easy access for the elderly. I was trying to call FEMA and I couldn't even get through. And I'm a younger person. Like, it's so much that you have to go through just to get in contact with someone. How they need to make it more accessible for everyone. How they need to make the process easier for everyone. And everybody, and the people that had insurance, they was denying them that $500 because they said that they had insurance. They was automatically denied. So it's like the system is failing us, but we have to come together and start holding these people that we're electing, these people that our taxes are paying. We have to start holding them accountable. Like, it's time to say enough is enough.
And you're right. I think the real disaster, comes the aftermath of everything, right? Because sometimes we get past these storms and what? It's just the aftermath when we depend on the government to come in and do what they're supposed to do. That's Tawana said, and they are never there for us. Look what happened. Look what's happening right now. People are still drowning from the water of Katrina. Right now, it's not a physical water, but there's no aid for them at all. They haven't got anything. It's 16 years later. People are still hurting from that, waiting on the government to fix some things. They just came in and it took everything. And now we got a homeless population, right? So the aftermath of every storm or every disaster is that they come in, like, I look around right now, I see tops, all blue tops across the city, and people are not getting their money.
Right. I'm in a hotel waiting for my place to be rebuilt. I'm in a hotel because I had a huge hole in my front room. My child windows was busted out. And it's 6-8 weeks later, I'm still in a hotel with my child.
And just to echo what you were saying about how difficult it's been for people to navigate the system, to me, that's kind of where the Black resistance part comes in, is that there was a lot of gatekeeping that has happened and is still happening. And it's been difficult for people to get what they need to get back on their feet, to get the resources, to navigate all these systems and all the paperwork and the phone calls and everything. And it's been impossible for some people, whether or not it's because of their age or just their accessibility, but also I was thinking the Black resistance part is being able to connect with the people who are connected to the resources so that they can support other people through that process and be able to disseminate things to other people. And so finding where the resources are and then us going there ourselves, getting them, and then bringing them to the people because the system is not working in the way that it's designed to help.
And it's so unfortunate because other countries are watching us and want to come in, and I believe in coming to the aid of anyone and everyone. But we have suffering right here in the United States of America. So I think there needs to be a moratorium at the national, the state, and the local government level, because this is appalling and undeserving and un-American, to have people suffering the way they are, homeless. In the United States of America, home of the free? Come on, this is appalling. And we have to speak up for those who do not have a voice, like the lady said, the homeless. And the others too as well, who don't have a voice. Those who don't have hands and legs, who's not able to come and see about others like they would love to. We got to have a voice and stuff for them. So there needs to be a moratorium as to what has happened so it does not happen again. Because the way climate change is going, however, I hope to God it doesn't happen, but the way things are going, and they're not listening to studies and research and data, that's fine, and talking about what's going on with climate change and not listening until something like this would happen, when that's going to be a next time, or just going to happen again, or we as community leaders coming together, and I'm talking about the political leaders, I'm talking about community leaders, us, neighbors, helping each other. That's when the change got to come in, and we need to use that as a tool as well. When we put these elected officials in position, we want someone that's going to come and see about the people. And I know there are some that have damages at their homes as well and still out there for the people. But we need more people like that, but it's just appalling. We have to have that moratorium right now, immediate, because it's going to get worse before it get better. And we need to not lay down our shovels and think it's all good, like the gentleman said. We need to keep on knocking at the door, keep fussing, keep fighting, keep supporting each other. and also make those accountable who need to be accountable instead of sitting at home, with disposition, making all of this money, in the hideout, in the dugout, not answering the phone, putting the phone down, knowing who it is, not facing the community when they come out in the grocery store, say, how did this happen? Why y'all weren't there? Well, what's going on? Anytime LP and now Integy, now come on now. That is a necessity that they have taken for granted. And they made billions of dollars too. I don't understand that. It's like we're living in a twisted world right now, and I don't want to get religious because I know people say, we're living in the last day. Yes, the last days we still supposed to be out there to help each other and put what is wrong, wrong, and what is right, right. That's the way I was taught as well. So, only thing I can say that we're just going to have to continue to fight and just have that awe-inspiring spirit in us to do right, regardless of the outcome, regardless of our situation. Because I'm just imagining a lady who just spoke and said she's still in a hotel till now, So I'm not complaining that I'm in a hotel because at least I'm able to go home. I had damages too that was in the garage in the game room, but I'm here for, to lend a voice as to what's going on in the hotel. And look like the hotel internet is not doing good. It did in the beginning, but still, I was determined to get on. I was determined. And that's what we got to do. Keep fighting on, even though doors may slam in our face, even though we're being ostracized and say we're troublemakers, you still know that you're doing the right thing to help people. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Thank y'all so much. Before we close for the day, I am opening up the floor for anyone to say things that their community needs. If there's any links, anything that we can do, the audience or anyone here, to support y'all's communities that we've been referencing this entire time. I'm saying we can. Y'all can put that out there for everyone to take a look at. If there's any information you'd like for the audience to take away, you can also link that in the chat or send that to one of us like Ben, and yeah. And if anyone has any last words about something that their community may need, the floor is open to say that as well.
Well, if anyone is looking to really do hands-on work and volunteer, please connect with me. We would love to have more people in Laplace helping with our distribution center or our distribution sites that we host. We're doing it about twice a month at this point. So if you're looking for that, you want to be on the ground, please connect with me. I'll put my information in the chat.
Yes, all of you can drop your information in the chat for everyone to use if you'd like as well. So yeah, because I'm pretty sure there's some people who may be interested in actually getting to work and actually applying some of the things that we've talked about today. So yeah, that'd be great.
Also, I'm a big part of with the Covenant House, which is a shelter for homeless youth ages 16 to 21. Ever since Hurricane Ida, the numbers have doubled with the homeless youth. They have this huge fundraiser coming up, which they do yearly, called the Sleep Out, where they have fundraisers. They actually sleep outside one night to see what it feels like to be homeless. They are also always taking volunteers. You can donate money, you can donate toiletries. Right now, they're in a huge demand of diapers and jackets for the winter days. And that's the Covenant House you can do on this site. And donate your time, whatever you would like. And also, I'm fighting for the name change at Lusher, LCS. We're trying to get rid of Kathy Ringler. She's a racist. She fired the principal for trying to fight for what's right. We're trying to change the rules that they have implemented, which is basically there is a lot of racist stuff going on within the school. So we're fighting for that. They have been very hard, like the pushback has been hard, but I think we finally about to have change. So if you guys want to be a part of that, just contact LCS. That's it.
If there's
And
oh, I'm so sorry. Go ahead, Ms. Stephanie.
thank you so much. I think Mr. Eric put in the, Mr. Ben put in the chat that I have a Cash App, so I continue the work of buying those things, those items. She just mentioned a few minutes ago, feminine product for the women, the garment for the men's personal items. I'm not going to go into detail. I'm pretty sure you all guys know what that is. I've also retired on July 19th, so I've been using that $1 million money from the school system. You know, we teachers don't make any money, but I've been using my own personal funds to take care of a lot and loving. And of course, you know, the only thing you get is that ooey feeling, knowing that you're doing the right thing to help God's people. So I think Mr. Ben put my apps in there. So I've been using my own personal money to take care of some things to some people, adults, women, widowers as well. I put up a lady in the hotel, used my money as well for a whole week. And not on that, and found her another place for her to live. And also getting bleach, cleaning products for different people as well. And food as well, and baby items as well for students that are taught, and calling me and saying that, you know, they have a need for this and for that as well. And so whatever you can do to help out will be very much appreciative. Or you can buy those items yourself and get in contact with me through my email address. And that is Stephanie Cooper, lowercase 225 @gmail.com. And I can drive and pick up those items. Thank you all so much. So glad to be a part of a winning team of panelists. And also for those who asked, Mr. Ben, our moderator, everyone who's on this call, thank you so much. All the ladies and women who's out there on the phone or either online, thank you all so much for listening to me and all of my comrades and friends and those wonderful people part of the panelists. Thank you, thank you, thank you.